You might have seen people play Lash, found the gameplay satisfying, but yet there's something missing. The gameplay looks a bit stiff, the ults look underwhelming. Maybe they're playing optimal, but not stylish. If you don't know who I am, I'm Axel, an eternus Lash main with a playstyle that not only wins over my enemies, but does it with style too. So in this video I'll teach you exactly that, how to play Lash the stylish way, going through his kit, build, gameplay, and some tips and tricks. But most important of all, the Axel glide. It's not really called that, I'm just hoping it catches on. This is the peanut butter and jelly combo that binds everything together, allowing you to fly during your ultimate and get a lot more value out of it. What you need for this trick is your ult, majestic leap, and a zipline. The order you will be doing things in is you will be grabbing a zipline, you will press control off it, also known as crouching, and then you will use majestic leap and then ult. How this mechanic works is that every character in Deadlock preserves a burst of momentum every time they drop off a zipline, which can be used by several characters to maintain speed while using a channeling ability, like the Yamato Power Slash. So this trick essentially uses that zipline momentum, and while you can do it alone without majestic leap, by just crouching off the zip and ulting, the extra height significantly increases your view down to your enemies, leading to more effective ults. If you don't have majestic leap yet, a grapple will also give much of the same height, but not the same distance. Another benefit of majestic leap is that you can also recast item while ulting, which lets you nudge yourself in a second direction than the one you fly in, allowing you to either extend the dash or change it completely. Moving on to the abilities. I'm sure a lot of you know the abilities already, so I'll do a very quick rundown. Ground Strike slams the ground in a cone, dealing damage to enemies hit. The important thing about this ability is that it has a damage per meter scaling, meaning the higher up you are, the more damage you will deal. This is the essence of the Lash playstyle and the thing you want to be having in the back of your mind. So the TLDR of this ability, height is power. Some good things to note with this ability is that you can turn in a 90-degree angle from where you started the slam, which is a good tool to hide where you're actually going to slam, because people only see the kind of current landing of the ground strike, so you can kind of turn and catch them off guard. You can also grab people out of the air if they're airborne too, which is a great way to snatch those Vindictus and Talons and absolutely terrorize them. Grapple pulls Lash in a target direction with a fixed speed and height and resets his air jumps and dashes. This ability is what allows Lash to gain height over his enemies and keep it, and turns the game into somewhat of a floor is lava challenge, which also makes you super hard to catch. To get the most out of the ability, you therefore want to use up your dashes in between the grapples so you kind of max out the height you get, and always have something to keep you moving, because the second you get caught, you're very squishy and easy to kill. Flog whips in front of Lash in a cylinder-ish shape, damaging and healing for a portion of the damage. This is the ability which helps you a lot getting through the lane and deals some consistent damage all the time. Since the ability heals you for a portion of the damage you deal, it gives you some nice sustain by chipping the enemies down while also healing yourself. The 2 points I put into it in lane will slow and reduce fire rate as well, also being a huge deal in the trades you take, which I'll get back to later. Death Slam starts targeting enemies and locking onto them, allowing you to press left click when the circle goes green, picking them up and throwing them to another place. You can target all 6 enemies with this ability, potentially throwing the entire enemy team with one ult. This ability is the crown jewel of the stylish playstyle, allowing you to fly, pick someone up, and setting up for yourself and your team without them even knowing what's going on. Some good things to note with this ability: even if they're way out of the marking area after the circle goes green, Lash will pull them. If there's buildings or objects in the way, or especially a roof, they will be lifted pretty straight up and down, almost like a Wraith ult. There is a lot of abilities that can save people from the Lash ult, or stop you doing it. For example, Dynamo's Quantum Entanglement, Ivy's Stormform, Pocket Suitcase, Mirage's Tornado, Viscous Cube, Calico Ult, Mina Bats, Counterspell, Indomitable, and the list just goes on. And this is why the ult glide tech is so good. Not only does it cover more ground by being able to fly during ult, but it catches enemies off guard.
I was like, he's gonna stop, he's gonna stop, he's gonna stop. No, he's behind me now.
I cannot stress how important it is to catch enemies off guard when ulting. The most common mistake I see Lash players doing is dangling in the air for 15 seconds, showing themselves, and then ulting. This makes it so easy for enemies to expect the ult that everyone will be ready with their counter spells, knockdowns, and escape abilities. So it's very important if you want this playstyle to succeed that you stay out of sight, keep a look on your minimap and fly when the enemies can't react. An unseen Lash is the deadliest. Now I'll be talking about the build I run with the stylish playstyle. I want to note that this build is always in development and changes constantly with the patches, but paste in the build code and you'll be able to see the changes over time as well. I also recommend checking what others are building from time to time and make up your own opinion about how you feel about items, because it's a great way to learn how the items are actually helping you in game. The early items look like this. Headshot Booster is a great damage item early, giving you some nice consistent damage paired with your Flog. Then I usually like to get the Spirit investment as early as possible, while buying a healing right if I need it. Don't be greedy. Quicksilver Reload gives you more damage on the Flog, also giving you more heal, keeping you alive in lane while chipping them down. The extra charge allows you to do more risky trades, even wasting a parry for a slight chance of a lucky hit, and then grapple out. The other items are just spirit items that kinda complement the rest of your kit. After lane, it's important to complete the investments. In case you didn't know, you get bonuses and stats for spending 4,800 souls on spirit, health and gun items, and most builds will focus on getting these ASAP. In my build, you'll find some good options to fill the green investment after the purple, Resto Locket being good all around to stay in extended fights, Enchanters being good for damage, regen and a good amount of spirit resist if you need it, and Trophy if you're winning hard. After one of these green items, I pretty much always run Majestic Leap. This item is very good when it comes to roaming and having a presence in fights around the map. If you have ult and leap, and a feeling that there will be someone around the lane, you can save it to do the movement tech. But don't be too careful with it and end up never using it, because you have after all spent 3,200 souls on the item. The leap is kinda what makes me complete, but it is an item that gives no stats at the end of the day, which is why a lot of people prefer not to get it, since it gives no consistent value itself, only in how you use it. Warpstone is a very good alternative for consistent movement. While Majestic Leap gets disabled for 5 seconds every tick of damage you take, Warpstone stays available all the time. If you want, you can opt for this item instead. And if you're extremely ahead, you can add this to the Majestic Leap tech by using Warpstone right before. This instantly gets you to the skybox, which forces your character to only fly forward and not up like Leap does. I wouldn't recommend doing this though, as it's a very expensive route to take, but it is good to catch people off guard if you're completely running the enemy down. The other items in the core gives you a mix of cooldown reduction, which is very important for your ults and ability rotations, some movement and damage, and gun items, which fill the investment and help you deal a fair chunk of damage outside the abilities. After getting the early and core items, you need to get a feel of the game. Try to identify problems on the enemy team and what you feel like you're struggling with in fights so far. I would recommend building into some counter item every game, sometimes even before the core has been fully completed, and only greed to continue on damage if you feel like enemies are never really countering or respecting you. If an enemy has knockdown and uses it on you every time you ult, you have to invest in Unstoppable in my opinion. Some people would say Dispel Magic is enough, but then you have to do the work of baiting the anvil out, cleansing it away, and then ulting, which is enough time for the enemies to catch onto you ulting anyway. Just put the Unstoppable in the bag, little bro. For damage, Boundless is great to lift your flat spirit power by a percentage, and all around making you stronger. Spirit Burn is great for anti-heal and gets very valuable later in the game. Mystic Reverb is rarely bought for me because I find more value in other items, even though it's great to print damage and have lifesteal on your slam. When the game goes super late game, stuff like Refresher becomes extremely valuable. At this point in the game, people get mostly one-shot if you can pick them off into your team, so more ults is very good. Diviner's Kevlar and other defense items also become needed usually. Now I'm gonna quickly talk through a game of Lash and show you the typical stages of the game. When you start out, you always want to be swapping to the left lane. This side always has a rope to the high ground, which is great to squeeze out big damage from slams, but also just works as a threat if they know you'll be there. The usual dynamic in lane is to go for a slam, back off when they try to jump you, and then repeat. You also deal good consistent damage with Headshot Booster and Flog, so don't be too scared of taking some trades. For the hard lanes, a healing right can help you a long way to stay alive, so I would definitely swallow your pride and get this item if you need it. It's good to note the 2 and 3 minute mark where the tier 1 camp spawns and boxes show up. If you're ready on a roof at this time, you can either one-shot your camp or even better, deal a good chunk of damage on the enemies and one-shot the camp. It's also good to run boxes after pushing out a wave, just don't be gone for too long and make your lane partner struggle. After one of the guardians gets destroyed, the game starts opening up. You often don't want to be sitting on the side lane anymore, especially when you have your ult. When this ability is ready, I would like you to actively look for an opportunity to kill. When you've roamed, used it, either if you got a kill or not, you can chill a bit more. Go for boxes on rooftops, slam the camps on the ground, and leech a little bit from the waves here and there. You're not a character that depends on farming all the time, so leaving the carries that do need the farm alone is usually a good thing. The benchmark I would look for on Lash is getting around 1000 souls every minute. Not in the early game, but in the mid-game-ish. You just want to keep up in souls, not be very far ahead because your power lies in winning your team fights and objectives, not out farming them. When you have the core damage spikes and some movement tech to go with it, you can start going nuts. This is the time where you can really make some impact plays before people start scaling and do big work around urns, rifts, towers, and in the jungle. Try to catch people off guard and just be a little creative with it, you know? Lash is a character that can get away with so much because of his reset and air dashes and grapples that get him out of sticky situations, so don't be scared to limit this a little bit. In the late game, you will hit a bittersweet spot. You can get big ults, but the enemies either won't get lifted or one-shot anymore. Many people will have resistances, counterspells, and other things. At this point, the element of surprise is more crucial than ever. A good Lash ult can swing the game extremely hard, and it is never over until the ritual has been completed. The tall base allows Lash to get very big ults when defending if you do this quick and unexpected. But also, don't be scared to solo ult someone, even though you might be hoping for the dopamine of a 6-man ult. One pick in the late game can be a huge difference because the death timers can be up to like 90 seconds, giving your team plenty of time to do something on the map. I also want to share some tips from my Lash experience that I think can help you win more games. If they have a lot of counterspells, but don't disrupt you in the air with things like a knockdown, a haze sleep, or a bebop hook, then you can simply wait out the entire ult duration, which usually lets counterspells run out and let you grab them anyways. Counterspell! Oh no. Oh no, buddy. This also applies for heroes like Apollo, which has a very short window to parry your ult. They often stress and click it as soon as they know you can pull, so just chill a bit, yeah? In some niche cases, you can also get duration extender on your ult and just wait out things like Ivy Stoneform, Quantum Entanglement from Dynamo, and things like that, because you can just linger in the air, wait for the ability to end, and then keep going. Play around ziplines in the mid and late game to be ready to use the movement tech, especially when people are fighting over walkers, rifts, or urns, because you can get some insanely strong ults. That being said, don't camp on the ziplines and let your team die in the jungle because you only want to use the tech. Prioritize the zip, but don't cling to it. Never bother taking the tier 3 camps if you don't invest a lot in the gun. Lash doesn't have great clear, and I found these take way too much of your time and heavily delays you from everything else on the map. Use the rooftops and slam on tier 1 and 2 camps usually. Don't ult from the top of the mid-boss pit, but go more from the side. The roof of the mid-boss pit can really mess you up, and your camera can kind of get stuck, not getting you anyone in the ult, but going more from the side, get you a great view and toss people off the rejuves. A little niche trick one of my viewers sent me while I was editing this is that you can grapple and wall boost at the same time, and you can use the upwards momentum from the grapple to go forwards instead and kind of boost yourself like this. So you pretty much just have to press grapple and jump instantly, but grapple first and then wall jump, but they have to be very, very quickly, almost like you're pressing at the same time. And last of all, know your limits. This is a MOBA after all, and you cannot be fistfighting deep in the enemy jungle with no waves pushed. If you want to learn more about the game in general, I highly recommend Deathy's videos on YouTube, as he's a very high ranked Lash and also very good at educating at a level which is understandable for everyone. I hope this guide gave you an understanding of how you play Lash in a stylish way, and some knowledge you can bring with you in your games forward. You can always watch my montages to see what this playstyle looks like in practice and get some inspiration for your own games. Thank you for watching the whole video, and consider subscribing if you want to stick around for the stylish Lash plays. See ya!
What do you mean the real Axel? Are you famous?